The snow fell in thick curtains across the mountains of northern Pakistan, blanketing the world in an eerie silence. Elsa trudged through the drifts, her medical bag slung over her shoulder, her breath forming small clouds in the freezing air. She was a volunteer medic with a remote humanitarian organization, providing aid to villagers cut off by the harsh winter. At 26 she had seen her share of hardship, but nothing could have prepared her for what she was about to encounter. The distress signal had come through her emergency radio just before dawn, a garbled transmission, half in English, half in what sounded like static interference. The coordinates led her to a ravine 2 kilometers from the nearest settlement. Against her better judgment, and despite the warnings of her colleagues, Elsa went alone. Something in that broken transmission spoke of desperate need. She found the crash site, just as the pale sun broke through the clouds. The wreckage was unlike anything she had ever seen, twisted metal that seemed to shimmer with an iridescent quality, scattered across the snow like the broken bones of some massive creature. And there, half buried in a snowdrift, was Jack's son. At first, Elsa thought he was human. His form was humanoid enough: 2 arms, 2 legs, a head. But as she drew closer, she noticed the subtle differences. His skin had a faint bluish tint beneath its pale surface, and his eyes, when they flickered open briefly, held pupils that were slightly too large, too dark. Blood darker than human blood, almost purple, seeped from a wound in his side. "Please," he whispered in perfect Urdu, then switched to English. "Help, me." Elsa's medical training overrode her shock. She dropped to her knees beside him, her hands already moving to assess his injuries. The wound was severe. Whatever had torn through his side had damaged internal structures she couldn't fully identify. But blood was blood, and trauma was trauma. She worked quickly, applying pressure, cleaning the wound with what supplies she had. "Who are you?" she asked as she worked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Lieutenant, Jack's son," he managed between labored breaths. "Galactic Defense Corps. Our ship, attacked by raiders." Elsa's mind reeled, but her hands remained steady. Galactic Defense Corps. Aliens. The implications were staggering, but right now, this being was dying in front of her, and that was all that mattered. She worked for hours, using techniques she had learned in field hospitals and refugee camps, adapting them to Jack's son's alien physiology. His body responded differently to her treatments. What should have helped seemed to have little effect. She tried different combinations of medications, different bandaging techniques, all while the snow continued to fall around them. "You should leave me," Jack's son said weakly. "Not safe. Raiders might return." "I'm not leaving you," Elsa replied firmly, her hands steady as she sutured the wound with specialized medical thread. "I didn't come all this way to let you die in the snow." As night fell, Elsa created a makeshift shelter using parts of the wreckage and her emergency supplies. She kept Jack's son warm, monitored his vital signs as best she could, and continued to treat his injuries. She talked to him through the long night, learning about his world, his mission, his people. He told her about the Galactic Defense Corps, an organization dedicated to protecting peaceful species from raiders and invaders. He told her about his home planet, a world of blue oceans and crystalline cities. And he told her about his family, waiting light years away, not knowing if he would return. "Why help me?" Jack's son asked during one of his more lucid moments. "You don't know me. I'm not even your species." Elsa met his dark eyes without flinching. "Because life is life," she said simply. "Because someone in pain needs help, and I can give it. That's all that matters." By the 3rd day, Jack's son's condition had stabilized. His alien physiology, once Elsa understood it better, proved remarkably resilient. The wound began to heal at a rate that would have been impossible for a human. On the morning of the 4th day, a rescue team arrived not from Earth but from the stars. A sleek vessel descended into the ravine, and beings similar to Jack's son emerged, their expressions showing clear relief and surprise. They took Jack's son aboard, their medical technology far beyond anything else I had ever seen. Before they left, Jack's son insisted on speaking with her one final time. "Elsa," he said, his voice stronger now, standing with the support of his fellow soldiers. "What you did, it goes against all probability. By all calculations, I should have died, but you refused to accept that. You used primitive tools and determination, and you saved my life." He reached into his uniform and produced a Medela star-shaped piece of metal that seemed to hold entire galaxies within its surface, colors swirling in its depths. "This is the Star of Valiance," Jack's son explained, his voice formal now, official. "It's the highest honor the Galactic Defense Corps can bestow on a non-military individual. It's given only to those who show extraordinary courage and compassion in the face of impossible odds. Only 12 have ever been awarded in the Corps' thousand-year history. He placed the medal in Elsa's hand, closing her fingers around it. The metal was warm, and she could feel a faint vibration, as if it held a heartbeat of its own. "You didn't see an alien when you found me," Jack's son continued, and there were tears in his strange, beautiful eyes. "You saw someone who needed help. That's the essence of what we fight for across the galaxy, that fundamental compassion that transcends species, culture, language. You embody it perfectly." The other soldiers saluted her, a gesture of profound respect. Elsa stood in the snow, holding the medal as the ship prepared to depart. "Will I see you again?" she asked. Jack's son smiled. "The universe is vast, but not infinite. Our paths crossed once against all odds. Perhaps they will again." The ship rose into the sky, silent as snowfall, and disappeared among the stars. Elsa stood alone in the ravine, the medal warm in her hand, and looked up at the infinite expanse above. She had always known humanity wasn't alone in the universe. Now she knew something more important, that compassion, courage, and the will to help those in need transcended every boundary, every difference, every distance between the stars. The medal remained warm in her palm as she began the long walk back to the village, carrying with her a secret that would change how she saw the universe forever. Somewhere in the stars, Jack's son was alive because one human woman had refused to let death win, and in the official records of the Galactic Defense Corps, Earth's name had been entered for the first time not as a curiosity or a primitive world, but as the home of a hero,